Number 11, we're asked to find the sine of theta if the cosecant of theta is square root of 5. So all of these trig definitions they're written in terms of ratios. So one thing I'm going to do to kind of help me work with this one is I'm going to write square root of 5 as square root of 5 over 1. So remember, cosecant is defined as hypotenuse over opposite. So if that's my hypotenuse and this is my opposite, then sine of theta would be 1 over square root of 5. Because remember, sine of theta is defined as opposite over hypotenuse, so 1 over square root of 5. So 1 over square root of 5, while that is technically correct, if we wanted to be a bit more proper, we would rationalize that denominator, which means we get rid of the radical on the bottom. So let's take just a second to do that. So the radical on bottom is square root of 5. So if I multiply by square root of 5 over square root of 5, remember that I'm just multiplying by 1 technically. So I'm multiplying by 1 in a really fancy way. I get square root of 5 over 5. Remember, any radical times itself just results in the number underneath. So square root of 5 times square root of 5 is just 5. On top, we have 1 square root of 5. So our final answer here, fully simplified, is square root of 5 over 5. All right, let's do number 12. Number 12 says find the cosine of theta if cosecant of theta is 13 over 5. So definition of cosecant, remember, is hypotenuse over opposite. And we want to know cosine, but the definition of cosine, remember, is adjacent over hypotenuse. So I'm missing a side here. I need to figure out what that other side is before I can figure out what the cosine of theta is. So let's see if we can figure out that other side. So one thing we could do in this particular problem is we could use the Pythagorean theorem to help us figure out that other side. So 5 squared plus x squared equals 13 squared. So when I find this other side, that's what my adjacent would have to be. I've already got the hypotenuse and the opposite, so that whatever that other side is will be my adjacent side. So let's figure this out. 25 plus x squared equals 169. Subtract 25 from both sides, and we get 144. Take the square root of both sides. We get x equals 12. Obviously, you don't need to worry about the plus or minus here, since negative links don't really have any meaning in these problems. So x equals 12 is that third length. So that is that third side, the adjacent side. So cosine of theta then is adjacent over hypotenuse, so 12 over 13.